This is me talking about London Fashion Week and ways in which you as a photographer can shoot London Fashion Week or any other fashion week without actually having to go and see a runway show. Because I'll be honest, it's quite hard to get into a runway show. You either have to have press credentials, you have to know somebody, get on the PR list. Now, I'm all for you just sending that email, honey. Find the PR agent, send that email. But it's quite daunting to shoot that. I also think a lot has to be said that the images can be quite samey. So, I mean, you're going to hate me. I know, shoot at the runway, so I need to not say that. But, if you want something that's going to stand out, I would suggest staying away from the runway shows. Like, it's great that you get to shoot all the great celebrities, great for your career. It looks great with credentials, but there's something about shooting outside the shows that can really make you stand out and get you a lot of work. And in my case, some good money. So if you like photography and advice like this, please consider subscribing and hit that like button. So let's just go straight into this. London Fashion Week is crazy. It's intense. There are shows everywhere and everyone is running around. I ran about like crazy, had my camera with me. And one of the things I loved is that while I was doing, in between shooting runway shows, and I'm a very privileged person to be able to do that, I was also able to shoot content with people who were involved in the industry and earn money. Okay. So I'm talking models, stylists, content creators, fashionistas, people who are critics, all of that. Even some brands reached out to me to shoot their stuff that wasn't on the runway. Okay. So first of all, you want to know how do you get these people candidates? I think that's very, very important. First of all, tell people that you're available. I know that sounds very simple, but seriously, tell people you're available. Do it in the lead up, in the weeks up to Fashion Week. Do it every single day. Put an ad out. So I did it in Facebook groups that were for models and people in the area. I put it on my Instagram stories. I spoke about it on when I was going live. I did it on my TikTok. I put it here on my YouTube. Like, I put it everywhere. And the reason why I was doing this was because I wanted people to know that I was available to be booked. Okay. I want to be booked and busy, as they say. So luckily for me, I already had some connections, but let's give an example. So there was somebody who was looking for a photographer to shoot some content that she had because a brand had sent her some clothes to wear for Fashion Week. She was like, hey, I need a photographer. I applied for that job. I said, hey, I'm here. She was my work. She said, yes. Turns out her name is Ava and she's one of the biggest plus size superstar models from Poland. And here we did some work together. I also, a top thing, that is really, really important for me was that I also shot video content. Now, I'm very lucky that I had the DJI Gimbal 7P. I'll put the link below. It gives some nice, smooth transitions, works for Android and Apple, which meant I could use my client's phone or use my own phone and give them video content straight away, smooth transitions. Now, don't get me wrong, I also shot on my little Insta 360 action thing there. And I also did photos on my camera and my main body camera, and I also shot on my own phone. But there was something about offering the gimbal for that smooth transition, those tracking walking shots that they loved and ate it up. And again, I was able to charge for that. Now, I was able to do this shoot and it, because she isn't necessarily going to every show, but she wants to show that she was there and she wants like this editorial blogger-esque vibe. You know what I'm talking about, right? So I shot this. I posted about it. I got more bookings because I was talking about it. Like, I shared my content. I showed myself going through London Fashion Week, getting on the trains, doing sessions. I shot models who were in the area, like Salima, who's a petite model, who was like, hey, I need a portfolio refresh. I shot her portfolio refresh. We did it in about 20, 30 minutes. Done. In between shows. Here it is. It's done. I also was able to work with people who work in the industry, which is a really good thing to do because they're very well connected. This is Styled by Bangles on Instagram, and she is a stylist. So we met for a coffee. We did this shoot. Here's some videos. Here's some pictures. Yes, that is a vintage Salimo. I'm jealous. We did that, and it got me more bookings because guess what? People saw me working. Now, that's not just to say that if you can't make the models or you don't feel confident yet to shoot this style of imagery, don't fret. There is also something you can do, which is the arrivals at every show. So if you know a show starts at 6, get there for 5, okay? And wait. Find a good spot and just wait. And photograph people arriving for these shows. People will walk to these shows, even if they're not even getting into these shows. They will literally just want to be seen by the so-called paparazzi around the area. So they will pose and they will happily pose for you and they will do loads of walk-bys. You can always recognize them because, like, how do I say, it's like they're stood in a certain way, they've got their sunnies on, they got their phones up. I mean, this is the, and you can approach them. If you think someone's got a cool style, approach them. I'll just give you an example. These are some people I just saw as walking around Covent Garden. I quickly did photographs of them. They loved it. I've sent it to them for the most part. I've only details I can't. But make sure you try and get people's details and tag them. So take your business cards or at least have a little QR code you can scan or take something to write their Instagram handles, whatever it is, down. And it got me work. One woman who I did her street photography is that now booked me for for 2 shoots for her outfits that she does, and it's got this sort of snowball effect, okay? You don't need to shoot every runway or be at any runway to shoot London Fashion Week. There is so much more going on. There's also like little pop-ups. I was walking back from Covent Garden. I saw Prada had a pop-up and I did some shots there. I just did them for myself. The guy was really interested in getting them. I got an email saying, hey, have you got those shots? And I'm like, yeah, here you go. I'm able to earn money in different ways that go beyond just shooting runway. And I love that everyone wants to shoot the runway, but it is hard to get into. And I think there's so much more off runway you could do. It also builds really good connections for you, your brand, and who you work for. And now I have this portfolio of not just runway images, but it also shows I was busy and going around places, which makes me look hella good. Okay. It also means when someone says to me, hey, I'm really shooting this portfolio. Hey, Khandie, do you have this? And I'm like, here you go. Here I am. I also made connections at hotels. So sometimes my models, clients were staying in these hotels and they let me shoot in their foyer. And they're like, oh my God, this is great. Can we have your details? So my details are now been handed to various managers at 5-star hotels or various different quirky hotels, Airbnbs, because they liked what I was doing. I was able to make more connections shooting this than I was shooting runway. Okay. So think about that when you next decide that you're going to go shoot runway. Or you're going to go shoot a London Fashion Week. You don't need to take a lot of kit. I took, for the most part, I shot 24-70. I took my gimbal, my phone, my action camera, a reflector, a flash just in case. And I had my laptop so I could upload and fire them straight away. So I would literally go do a runway, shoot a content, sit in a coffee shop, whack out my editing, send it off to them and go back. Now, for those people who wanted a little bit more stylistic editing, I sent them a couple of sneak peeks just so they could share it. And then I had it in my backlog to do that evening. Works a treat, honey. And I send it all via Pixie Set. Everything I do, all my workflow, I think is probably down below for you. There's lots of links there. The only thing I would say is go out and do it. It is a bit of a crazy free-for-all. It can be quite overwhelming, but there's nothing stopping you going off to be a fashion photographer and never shooting a runway show. Okay, take care of you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.